Hey, this is Gerry Visca, the publisher of Defyeneurs, and welcome to the second edition of the Top 50 Relationship Marketing Tips. We are live with Linda Lindsey of California. Linda, welcome to Defyeneurs.
Thank you very much, Gerry. This is quite an exciting time for you and for me. I'm excited, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Oh, thank you. We're super pumped about your profile. It's absolutely explosive, Linda. You're changing lives and in so many different ways. And, you know, there's a quote I want to share with listeners. It's in your profile, and I really, really love it. It starts off, having integrity in today's world makes you a very rare individual indeed. I have been driven by that quality from a very young age, instilled in me by my dad. I love that. Linda, how has your journey led you to relationship marketing?
You know, I have to just preface it and say that the journey for all of us, I do believe in my heart is a God-driven journey. We've all been given a life. We've all been given opportunities, and in that process, it's almost like weaving a tapestry. There's knots and threads and loose things like that, but at the end, you turn it over and it's a beautiful picture. And I think everyone, when they take a step back and look back in your life, we see peaks and valleys, we see ebb and flow, we see good times, bad times, and some mediocre, but nevertheless, it's called life. It's, you know, like that poem of the Dash. But how it really led to, I think my oldest son said to me, "Mom, my goodness, I think you were born to do this." And there's much more of a profound statement than he realized when he said that, because we are all born with gifts and talents. And, you know, I started when I was super young, even in high school in retail, and I fell in love with the business because I got to talk to people all day long. And that was super fun, and I was able to help people with whatever it was their purchases and their needs were at the moment they were in the store. And then it went on, and it went into a very lengthy, very successful retail women's clothing career, and it was not something I set out to do. It was one day at a time, one opportunity at a time, which led to another and another. And in that, it was a wonderful time in my life. I loved it. But I always wanted to be a mom, and I thought I could do both. Unfortunately for me, that didn't work. I ended up, my first child was lost in a miscarriage, and I was devastated. But I was working, you know, a bazillion hours because I treated that business as if it was my own. I always did. And I thought, wow, some things have got to change. And I gave up that career just cold turkey to stop and change my focus on being a mom. And it was what I had to do. I think I look back, you know, it was meant to be. And I was blessed with our first son, and that was actually almost 26 years ago next week. But we had just moved to California from Atlanta, Georgia, so we didn't know anyone. I did not want to farm him out to a stranger. That just was not an option. I didn't want to go back to work and be on an airplane. I was on an airplane every single day, sometimes 2 cities, 3 cities in a day, and that made no sense. It was a miracle that he was ever even born. I didn't want to jeopardize that at all. So I made a decision to quit cold turkey and stay at home. And when he was 6 months old, a relative on the East Coast called me up and shared with me a product that she was excited about, and it was skin. And I'm thinking, well, I have skin. That's good. And she shared with me that it was a business opportunity as well. And I'm thinking, wow, maybe that works for me, right? Time freedom, low startup. I could juggle my own schedule around my child, and I could be at home with him. So even to this day, when I talk to a young mom, it just hits me to the very core of who I am, because that really was the catalyst that changed my entire life. So I was able to do that. I learned a lot through the course of those next 20 years. I learned a lot. I fell in love with the business model without a doubt, because corporate America was very good to me, but I was never, ever going to be the owner of that huge company that I worked for. Never. I was never, ever going to break that glass ceiling. Never. I was going to trade time for money. I was trading time, loved my job, but I was getting a paycheck and a company car. That pretty much was what it was. And after nearly 20 years of that, loving every minute of it, I walked out with nothing. That didn't make any sense to me. So when I was introduced to relationship marketing, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I've been looking for my entire life. So it just made total sense to me. To me, it was what they call a no-brainer. It was totally a no-brainer, without a doubt.
I love that, Linda. I just, you have such a big and beautiful heart, and I love your analogy to a tapestry, and how you share that we're all born with gifts and talents, and just how that weaves in. There's another quote that you share in your profile which really touches me, and it says, not one person can be motivated by another. That has to generate from the depths of their very soul. Just love that. Linda, what gets you leaping out of bed every single day?
Gerry, that's something is a very interesting concept to talk to people. Depending on where they are in their life journeys, you tend to sort of kind of get that as you get older and as you've experienced things. But I've learned over the years, even in my retail career, I had thousands of employees. I really did. And I've learned, whether it was corporate or whether it was network marketing, it doesn't really matter, or whether it's your own family, you can't motivate an individual. That has to come from the like I said, the depths of your soul. That's what has to really get you up in the morning, keep you up late at night. And for me, when I really understood that very, very clearly, because I thought it came natural as a young person working. To me, it came natural. I was loving what I was doing. And when my son, my firstborn, was in high school and playing baseball, he was super smart, as my friends say. Oh, my gosh, he's uber smart. He didn't really care that much about school. It was all about baseball and whatever else fun he could have. And I asked one of his coaches one day at back to school night, I said, what in the world can I do to get this kid motivated about school? He looked me straight in the face and he said, you can't. It's not possible. And it hit me like, oh my goodness, like a ton of bricks. I'm thinking, wow, I'm very influential in my son's life, but you know what? I really can't. But what gets me up, what gets me focused, it keeps me in the game, is my desire, my belief, and my passion. It turns into passion, because when you have a desire of something and then you lock arms with people that are like-minded, then that desire becomes much bigger. It becomes a white-hot desire, and your belief turns into passion. And passion turns into action, without a doubt. So for me, in particularly in Nerium, like I say, I started in network marketing, relationship marketing, when my oldest son was 6 months old. He's now almost 26. And I became a student of the industry. I never really was successful in the world's term as far as earning money. I never really earned any money until I found the perfect vehicle, which is Nerium International. And when I found it, I knew that I knew without a shadow of a doubt, with what I had experienced in the few years prior to that, that it was a time such as this that I had been called to do. I knew it in my heart, in the depths of my soul, because it was a miracle that was literally it was by God's design, no question about it. So because of that, I will never stop working hard, sharing, spending countless hours mentoring some of the leaders of my team, because I want anybody out there, it doesn't matter. There can be thousands and thousands and thousands of people on the team. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter rank. It doesn't matter whatever it is. If I find that person, I don't say if, when, who has that desire to want to do things to change their life one day at a time, I want them to have it. I know what's here for them, and I want to be a small part of huge change in their life. I want them to have it. It's here, and I want to be a piece of that to let them go get it, without a doubt. It's almost difficult to put into words, honestly.
I love that. Linda, you're so full of passion and belief. It's just fantastic. And, Linda, you've touched a lot of lives. You've certainly seen a lot of change. And, my last question for listeners is, what is the bigger picture of Linda going forward?
That's a very big question right now, Gerry. Moving forward, there's so many components in my life, and we've been so blessed to be mentored by a gentleman named David Bird, and he helps us analyze our life, balance our life in the 6 areas of life that pretty much are the most important areas in your life that you truly do need to pay attention to. And of course, one of the most important areas is spiritual, and it's always important to me. You know, my relationship with the Lord is huge. It's the core of my very existence. So one of the areas of my life, and David Burke teaches us that as well, is spiritual and ethical. And I know that there's a ministry out there in addition to, because honestly, wherever we are planted is our mission field. It is. Wherever we're planted. It's interesting, our pastor preached on that exact same thing. So that's a piece, that's a component, overall picture. But the 6 areas that he talks about is family, career, mental, education, physical, social. All of those components play into what you just asked me. For my family, with my sons, there's a huge goal that the 3 of us have set. My oldest son is a Marine. He's an officer in the Marine Corps, and my youngest is a firefighter, forest fire with the U.S. Forest Service. And so our lives are taking on a lot of amazing things and many different paths and journeys. And so bigger picture for me are some amazing plans for our family that's going to change probably their children and their children. In order to do that, NERIM International is my vehicle. Without a doubt, it was a miracle for me, and it will continue to be. And I'm super excited where we're going. At this point, we're only in 4 countries, and there are people on this team in all 4 countries, and I'm honored to be able to go to their homes and meet some of the people in Canada and Mexico and Korea. And we will continue to move forward in that international global business arena. And only God knows the countries that my feet will touch the ground. And I know that that is going to be a bigger picture of where we're going, what we're going to do, and how I'll be used in small parts to change so many lives. That is almost difficult for me to wrap my brain around, honestly. I've done a lot of traveling, but this is going to be bigger than anything. And the next goal for me is to hit the next rank, which is 5-star National Marketing Director. And it's not about the rank, and it's not about the dollars, even though there's quite a bit more dollars there. But what I can do with that to impact lives. And one of my goals for me in the depths of my soul is to be, I've never really said this out loud to only one person, is to be involved in rescuing and working with women who have been trafficked. Unfortunately, it's a huge issue, even right here in Southern California. And for some reason, that's heavy on my heart. So those dollars will give me the opportunity to fund and help that ministry in many different ways. It's a big one, but it's if you will, it's a definite chief aim, which is bigger than a goal. That's something you leave a legacy behind when you're gone, and it's definitely a burning ember in the depths of my soul for sure.
Linda, you're just such a beautiful soul, such a beautiful role model for your family, for just women worldwide. Linda Lindsey, pages 6 and 7 in Defyeneurs. We're just honored for having you as a part of this inspired platform. And on behalf of Defyeneurs, we just want to wish you an absolutely define year of success. Thank you so much.